Every year, we all have a bunch of goals and we start building those habits. We take out that habit tracker and we put down the habits that we want to build. Read 50 pages a day, go to sleep at 10 a.m., wake up at 5 a.m., work out for 30 minutes, go on a run, go on a walk, eat healthy food, meditate, journal. And the list goes on and on and on. And we're on a roll for like 2 or 3 days and then that's it. We fall back to our default selves and we are content but unsatisfied because we want to change. But a goal without a system and a goal without building the habits to sustain it isn't going to last for a long time. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to make systems for yourself rather than setting goals, trying to hit them, and then falling short. So it's a really easy process, but you have to personalize it to you and get the work in on the front end because it is a lot of work to think about everything and set it up and then follow along. But once you do this part, everything else will just fall into place really easily. The only thing that you have to do is show up day after day after day. Just show up, be consistent, and just like that. So you'll be able to reach your goals automatically just by building this one habit, and that is to create systems in your life, plug yourself into them, run them to execution, and boom, you've done it. So the first thing that I need from myself and from you is to set aside an hour of uninterrupted time. Now, that's not to say that this video is going to be an hour long because it absolutely will not. That is just too long for you to watch and follow along. But you might have to take a pause and then do the exercise and then come back. Step one is, where are you currently at in your different areas of life? Here are my major areas, and there are just 6 of them. There's health, which is physical and mental, finances, personal development, career, relationships, and hobbies. So why start with this? Because everything starts with awareness. How can we know which direction to go when we don't even know where we're currently at? Don't put too much pressure on this. Just brain dump it all on a piece of paper on each topic. Okay, now that you know where you currently are in all these different facets of your life, the second step is to write where you want to be in each step. So we know where we are. We want to know where we want to go. So this is where you write down like goals that get you really, really excited 6 months or 12 years from now. And the reason I picked that timeline is that it doesn't feel too far away. It feels doable. It's not like 5 years later because you really can't predict that far in your life. But 6 months feels tangible. It feels like it's right around the corner, but you do have time to get things done. And I really like this quote from Alice in Wonderland. And it says, if you don't know where you are going, any road can take you there. So that's why we're doing steps 1 and 2, which is where are you at? Where do you want to go? Point A and point B. And if you do get stuck, here's a prompt from the 4-Hour Work Week, which is list 5 things you want to have, 5 things you want to be, and 5 things you want to do. And if you're interested in lessons from the 4-Hour Work Week, I've got another video where I talk about those lessons quite thoroughly. Step 3 is, out of that list, pick 1 to 2 goals to focus on. Because when you focus on too many things at once, like that person who has 10 things on their habit tracker, things fall apart because you're going to have a rough day. You're going to not get enough sleep. You're going to have your parents visiting and your house falls apart. So pick 1 to 2. You want to be consistent with that. Make it automatic into your life. Have a system. Build that into your life, and then you can move on to the next one. That's not to say that you can't do them all. You just can't do them all at the same time. So my 2 goals are, the first one is to make $10,000 a month via content creation, probably via YouTube. And my second goal is to lose 25 pounds by the end of the year. Question you do want to ask yourself is like, in 6 months, is this realistic? Is this possible to have a goal that's like make $1 million a month by the end of the year? That's like, that's pretty far reaching, but $10,000 a month I think is very possible. The question that I like to ask myself if something is possible is, can I complete 20% of the goal in the next 2 to 4 weeks? Like a month from now, can I make $2,000 a month? It's possible. Right now I'm making about $1,000 a month. So that is possible. And I've lost 2 pounds out of 25. It's reasonable. It's possible. It's just a little bit far reaching, just on the edge of what I can do without pushing it too far. So after you've got your 1 to 2 goals that are really important to you, that you are most excited to work on, that you know you want to make progress on, step number 4 is to ask yourself some of these questions and write them down. The most important one is to know your why. Now, I feel like I talk about this a lot, but it's to know your deep inner why. That's not just a superficial like, oh, I want to look good, I want to make money, I want to do blah, because that's not going to get you going through those really tough times and those really tough days. And you'll probably give up. Ask, why is this important? And ask yourself why like 3 to 4 times. Then write that down and put it somewhere that you can see every day. Let's do the first why. The first why is I want to have a sustainable income to pay for my monthly expenses. But why? That's still superficial. Why? So I can spend time with my family without worrying about our finances. Okay, but why? I want to create good memories with my family and not worry about money being the limiting factor. I also want a job that doesn't take too much time away from my family. So I think that's a pretty reasonable why for me. Spend high quality time with my family without worrying about money. And then why do I want to lose 25 pounds? Is it just to look better? Sure, that would be great. But why? I want to be able to play with my daughter without getting injured. Why do I want to do that? I want to give her really cool experiences that probably involve me getting on the floor and crawling around and running and carrying her. I want to be able to be a good role model and have her look up to me as a figure for inspiration in health and fitness. So typically, when something is an external motivator, like money, car, a nice house, it can take you through the hard times, but it's not as strong as an internal motivator, such as like your duty or something that's more values-based. Like if you want to be a good role model for your kids, like that's value-based. Or if your duty is to be a provider for your family, like that's duty-based. And those are going to get you through the tough times more than saying, oh, I want to look good for the summer. So next in all these questions is, what obstacles are you going to encounter along the way? And the reason we look at obstacles is because that's how we plan to tackle them, because obstacles are definitely going to pop up. So in your journey for fitness, like what will get in the way? Probably eating out. So we'll come up with ways to, how are you going to get around eating out? Like what healthy meals can we eat while we eat out? No time to work out some days. So what's like the minimum in a day that we can do? Like how can we relay that we're on this like fitness health journey? So if you write down all the obstacles and then write down solutions to all the potential obstacles, then you sort of know how to get over those humps in advance. Right, the next one is, what are some one-time actions that you can do to your environment to make reaching your goals easier? So for me, like one thing would be not buying snacks. And then if I do have snacks, to keep them in the pantry and close the pantry door. Another thing is to meal prep and to sign up for a gym membership. And there's all these things that you can do to support your goals that you can start planning in advance and like sort of locking yourself into the path that will get you to achieving your goals. It does depend on what your goal is. For YouTube, the main thing is to sit down on my PC and open up Notion, because I plan all my projects on there. I have all my schedules, my scripts, and all the ideas. And because I open it up, now I get reminded like, hey, this is what you need to do today. Okay, now that you've got all your questions done, step number 5 is to break down the big goal into small short-term milestones that you can achieve at a reasonable pace. So is there something that you can do daily that's going to help you achieve your goals? For me, I've got 2 daily tasks. One is to sit at my PC and open up Notion. And the other one is to eat a balanced plate a day, which involves like more vegetables, carbs, and proteins. Like it looks a certain way, and those are my 2 things. So if I achieve those 2 things in the day, then I know I'm consistently working towards my goals. And doing those two things leads to other habits forming as well. So they're like keystone habits that are going to form other things. So if our main goal is 6 months long, we're going to break it up into like what's something that you can do in 3 months, and then each month, and then weekly, and then daily. On the creator goal, like my main goal is $10,000 a month. So a halfway point would be $5,000 a month. And I want to upload weekly. Each month I want to have an experiment that I'm doing that's going to like test what will be effective for me in the long run. So step number 6 is to make an intention. Where, when, and what. So where will you do your habit? When will you do it? And what will you do? As for what, I like to stick to the 2-minute rule. Something that you can do in under 2 minutes that's going to be the start of your entire habit. Like maybe you want to go to the gym for a workout, but your 2-minute rule habit is to put on your workout clothes and go to your car. And then afterwards you get to the gym and maybe you work out, maybe you go for a run, maybe you do play basketball, like maybe whatever. You keep it pretty simple after you go to the gym. And eventually that builds up into something more, but you're proving to yourself that you're consistent over time. Step number 7 is probably the most important part. It is, now that you have all the things that you said you were going to do, execute and readjust. Analyze and readjust. So what went well? What went wrong? What can you do next time to make it better? And let's say you didn't wake up one morning and go to the gym. Maybe you slept in and then stayed at home. Like, what can you do to make that better next time? Maybe it is to go to sleep earlier, or don't eat as close to bedtime when maybe your sleep fell apart, and that's why you didn't go to the gym. So it involves a lot of self-awareness and reflecting with yourself, and a journal helps as well if you're tracking all these things. Like one of my things is to do cardio, and one of the things I put in my journal is I did 7 minutes today. That's up from 2 minutes, so that's a 5-minute win. So readjust and then keep going, loop and loop and loop. Step number 8 is make sure this is all somewhere that you can see, some type of hub, a journal that you open up every day, a Notion page you open up every day, sticky note on your mirror when you brush your teeth, just somewhere that's visible. Most people don't reach their goals because they forget about it or it just escapes their mind. That's why we have a system here, is that we, one, want to keep it at the top of our mind all the time. It's a priority and we know to make it one. And 2, we also now have a place where we can journal in our thoughts, reflect, and then adjust. Like next time, what are you going to do? So having a system can be difficult, and it takes time to get into the habit of building one, because building the system is a habit itself. But another habit would be to track what's going on. So tracking is a habit that you also have to do, which is easy to forget. So by having a hub where everything exists, it just makes it so much easier. You can add more pages, you can track, you can write down what happened, and then you can adjust day by day by day. So personally, I think the most important habit is to do something that reminds you every single day to stick to your systems until they become automatic. And once your systems become automatic, everything just becomes a lot easier. I recommend starting with 1, and then once that becomes automatic, go to 2, and then so on and so on. But that is the system that I use for creating systems, and I hope that helped you out. If you like this video, you might like my video that I made on 90-day experiments. That's also another system that you can do. It's a little shorter term and it's slightly smaller than building a full-on thing. It's going to get you closer to completing your goals and achieving what you want in life